right, here we go. Padres Dodgers game 1 NLDS. I just wanted to go live here for this pregame thoughts, pregame show here because we were waiting on this Dodgers lineup. Usually the Padres and Dodgers lineup would be out 3-4 hours before first pitch, but we were waiting on the Freddie Freeman news, and it just came down that he will be in the Dodgers lineup. There was some confusion there. Kevin Burkhardt was saying that Freddie Freeman was not going to be in the lineup. He said that on the Fox broadcast during their game break of Mets-Phillies. But then minutes later, the Dodgers lineup came out and Freddie Freeman was in it. So we're going to get to that lineup. But let's start with the pitching matchup, obviously, tonight. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers. 5:38 is going to be that first pitch. Dodger Stadium in LA. FS1 is where it's going to be. And 97.3 The Fan. You can listen to Jesse and Tony if you don't want to listen to the Dodgers broadcaster, Joe Davis, and John Smoltz. He'll be the analyst in the booth tonight. Ken Rosenthal, I believe, is going to be the dugout reporter. But yeah, Dylan Cease and Yamamoto, they have both faced their other team, the other team that they're playing tonight. Yamamoto, that was way earlier in the season, so I don't even really want to go back and visit those outings because of how far along or how far ago that was. And with Dylan Cease, his last outing against the Dodgers, I believe it was 5 innings, and he gave up 3 runs. And what really hurt him, I believe this is what the outing was, is he walked the 9 guy before Shohei, and Shohei made him pay a little bit there. So that's really what was an issue there. September 25th, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, gave up 5 hits. He walked 3 guys, struck out only 4 guys, 97 pitches. So obviously the Padres are hoping that Dylan Cease can give them more length than what he gave on that night. But I wonder how he's going to go about attacking the top of that Dodgers order, and we're going to get to that lineup here in a second. But he was talking to the media yesterday, and they were asking about Shohei Ohtani, and he's like, essentially, I'm not quoting him, but you could get into trouble if you're just trying to nibble, right? Like, you got to go after guys, attack guys. If you get behind in the count, that's where you can really get into a problem. So I expect Dylan to go attack Shohei Ohtani. I expect him to go attack a lot of these Dodgers hitters. And with Freddie, I wonder how Dylan's going to attack Freddie tonight, because obviously Freddie's dealing with the ankle. So is he going to attack him inside more to try to get a foul ball off a leg? Or is he going to try to jam him so he has to beat out a play? And that can help the Padres defensively, because Freddie obviously doesn't seem like he's 100% there. He said yesterday or the day before that his ankle sprain that he's trying to deal with right now, he's trying to rehab that and get ready in a week for tonight, where that's usually I think 4 to 5 week. It's a multiple week thing that he's trying to jam all in that recovery time into this 1 week. And obviously, we didn't know if Freddie was going to be in the lineup. I felt like he was going to be in the lineup because it's a playoff game. And even if he can't run, Freddie knows that the Dodgers need that bat. They want that bat in the order. And so that's what I would look out for, is hopefully it's not a situation tonight where the Padres are facing Freddie Freeman in a spot where he could go win the game for them and he doesn't have to go run down the line. If I'm the Padres, I want Freddie to, I want him to go run. I want to have him prove that he can go run down the line. So whether that's pitching him differently, jamming him, trying to get that weak contact, pitching to contact to Freddie. Obviously, you don't want to leave one middle of the plate, but you get what I'm saying. That's obviously something to be watching tonight. And then with Yamamoto, he can throw some meatballs there. And this is his first playoff game. I know he pitched well at Yankee Stadium, and the Dodgers are going to bring that up about how they're not going to be worried about Yoshinobu Yamamoto going into tonight's game. But that is something to remember, that this is his first playoff game, and it is different than a regular season game. Even if that game is at Yankee Stadium and it's Dodgers-Yankees, this is different. You've got your whole home crowd there with you, and you're facing a really talented lineup in the Padres. So a lineup, by the way, that smacked him for his welcome to the major leagues. moment, So I'm interested in seeing how he is going to attack this Padres lineup. How is Jake Cronenworth going to do? I think Crony got him. Again, that was a long time ago in Korea, but he did get Yamamoto in Korea there. And Crony is an X factor. As I said on my series preview yesterday, I think he is an X factor in this series. He went over in that wild card series, and there's Padres fans that are down on Crony right now. But I mean, this could be the same situation as 2022 where he goes off. He hit over 450, I think, in that Dodgers NLDS after not doing anything in that wild card series. Had a homer, had 5 runs, I believe, driven in. Obviously, the big hit in Game 4. There's a switch that flips when Crony is facing the Dodgers. He may not say that because he's like, I'm not trying to flip the switch there. I'm still having that same like mentality of trying to get on base and do my job against the Braves. It's not like I'm not trying there, but just stats wise, production wise, we can say that there's that flip does switch on when he goes up and faces the Dodgers. He's played pretty well. He's come up in moments at Dodger Stadium, and that's not 2022 only, but that's last week against the Dodgers in that game that they clinched a postseason spot. How big he was in that game. I'm just looking here, Yamamoto's game logs real quick. Yeah, he 2 starts against the Padres this year for him. One was in Korea, and the other was April 12th, where he went 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. He allowed 2 homers. Manny hit one off him. That was at Dodger Stadium. And Kim hit one off him. Obviously, Kim is not playing, but Manny has that. And I believe that's that's one of my underdog fantasy picks tonight, by the way, is Manny 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs higher. That's what I'm going there. I do love that matchup. Manny against Yamamoto. And then with the Dodgers bullpen, I wonder how fast is Dave Roberts going to go to that bullpen. He's got talent there. But Vesia, it seems like he's a different pitcher when he faces the Padres than the rest of the league. But he has Blake Trinan. He has Evan Phillips. Michael Kopech has been great since coming over to the Dodgers in that trade. So he's got weapons there in that bullpen. Joe Kelly, by the way, he is not on the Dodgers NLDS roster. He tweaked his shoulder in a workout, and he's actually done pretty well, if I remember correctly, against the Padres. So that's good for the Padres that he is not on the Dodgers roster. And before I get to both lineups, I do want to just list the 26-man rosters. For those that are live here, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll go through that here in a little bit. But for pitchers for the Dodgers, Anthony Banda, Ryan Brazier, Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty. Flaherty starting tomorrow. Buehler probably Game 3 at Petco. Michael Grove. They've got Henriquez, the young guy that throws gas. Daniel Hudson they have as well. Landon Knack, who might start Game 4 for them. Michael Kopech, who's their best reliever right now. Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia, and Yamamoto, obviously, starting tonight. Shohei Ohtani as their DH. They've got Austin Barnes and Will Smith as their catchers. Infielders, Freddie Freeman, Gavin Lux, Miguel Rojas, and Max Muncy. In the outfield, they've got Mookie, Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pages, and utility guys Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, and Tommy Edman. As for the Padres, pitchers, Jason Adam, Jeremiah Estrada, Michael King, who is going to be starting Game 3, Wandy Peralta, Dylan Cease starting tonight, obviously, Brian Hoeing, Yuki Matsui, Martin Perez, he is on this roster. He replaces Joe on this roster. He will maybe start Game 4. Robert Suarez, then Yu Darvish, obviously, starting tomorrow. Alec Jacob gets on this roster. I believe he takes Nick Ahmed's spot, technically, because Ahmed is not on this roster. Adrian Morejon and Tanner Scott. So it's pretty much the same bullpen. Just put Martin Perez in there, put Alec Jacob in there in that pen. And that could be a nasty matchup, facing a righty with Alec Jacob on the mound. So I'd look for that. Elias Diaz and Higgy, obviously, are the 2 catchers on the infield. Arise, Bogey, Crony, Donovan Solano, Manny Machado, and Tyler Wade. Outfielders, Brandon Lockridge. Him and Wade, really, I think, for pinch running situations there. Wade maybe for defense. Maybe Lockridge for defense as well, depending on who's in the game and if you want to pinch hit for them or pinch run for them. And then you have Lockridge go be in the outfield. Merrill, Profar, Tatis, David Peralta, obviously. So those are the outfielders there. No really surprises for me. I don't qualify Nick Ahmed as a surprise because I'm not even thinking about Nick Ahmed. He was just there on the roster, but I never thought of him as like maybe he gets into the game. He was just there in case someone got hurt, really. So let's get into the lineup. So Padres lineup first. Luis Ariz, he is DHing. Fernando is batting second in right. Profar is in left. Manny is at third. Merrill's in center. Bogey at short. Crony's at second. Solano at first. And then Higgy is batting ninth. And he could be an X factor. Obviously, we saw what he did in that Braves wild card series, homering in both games. Maybe, I'm not saying that maybe you think, like, let's take a break with this Padres lineup because we're at the bottom of the order if you're the Dodgers, because it's the postseason. You're not going to take a break. But I'm just saying, with Luis Ariz standing there on deck, you probably don't want to be pitching to him. And then Tatsi, you don't want to be pitching to really anyone after that. So Solano, Crony, Higgy there, are they going to be getting some good pitches, some maybe first pitch opportunities there for the Dodgers? Maybe they want to get ahead, maybe take advantage of that. That's the Padres lineup. And then the Dodgers lineup is out as well. It's not listed here on MLB.com, but I do have it. And here it is. Ohtani, he's leading off, DHing. Then Mookie is in right. Freddie Freeman at first. Teoscar Hernandez batting fourth in left. Max Muncy is playing third. He's batting fifth. Will Smith, he's going to be catching, batting sixth. Gavin Lux, he's playing second, batting seventh. Tommy Edman is going to be in center for them, batting eighth. And then Miguel Rojas, he is going to be at shortstop, and he is batting ninth, obviously. You look at that lineup, and yes, you want to be careful with Shohei Ohtani. But Mike Schilt was saying this yesterday, I think, talking to the media about how he's not scared to go compete. He's never been afraid to go at someone, go compete. He's not going to back down. There could be a situation where you don't have Tanner Scott in the game and you have a righty, or maybe you have Morejon in the game even and you don't want him to pitch to Shohei. Let's just say that. And you'd rather have someone pitch to Mookie. Mookie has come up incredibly small for the Dodgers the last couple of years in the postseason. Freddie Freeman as well. So you may want to pitch to those guys instead of Shohei Ohtani. And that's understandable, obviously. So maybe you put Shohei on base. And I see this in a situation where the Padres, maybe they have a multi-run lead. And it's like, okay, a home run will tie the game. It won't have the Dodgers take the lead. Or a home run will get them within one. It won't tie the game. Something like that. Where maybe you put Shohei on base, you pitch to Mookie. Maybe you have Robert Suarez on the mound. Maybe you have another righty on the mound where Jason Adam, where it's like, yeah, he's nasty, but let's not pitch to Shohei. Let's go after Mookie instead. Maybe there's 2 outs in an inning. Let's go pitch to Mookie, get him out, and then we can bring a lefty in to face Freddie. And then you got Muncy as the guy after Teoscar, so 2 out of 3 there with the lefties. That's just something to think about there. Really, the top of the lineup is going to be the talk, I think, when it comes to this lineup. Obviously, you want to be careful with a lot of these guys. This is a dangerous lineup with Max Muncy. He can get you. Will Smith, obviously. 7, 8, 9, though, sure, they can get you with a single, but they're probably not going to get you with power. So that's the one part of the lineup where I'm like, don't be afraid to pitch to contact here. Maybe, hopefully, you can get a ground ball. You don't have to be as, I'm not going to say scared, because I don't think Padres pitchers are going to go in there scared, but go after him. Definitely go after him. Try to use that to lower that pitch count, especially for someone like Dylan Cease. Don't be nibbling against those guys. If you have to walk Shohei or someone at the top, okay, but go after the bottom of the order. If they beat you, they beat you, but I'm not trying to nibble there, increase my pitch count, and like that previous outing, walk Miggy Rojas, the 9-hitter, and then you have Shohei coming up. That cannot happen tonight. You do not want that happening. So that's what I've got there. Bullpen-wise, hopefully Dylan Cease can give the Padres 6 and even 5+, and then you get maybe a matchup to end the 6 there. And then you can go with Adam or Scott based on matchups, 7th, 8th. And then you go with Robert Suarez there to finish off the game. And I say that because it feels like that's what's going to happen, is just based off the wild card series, is they still have the confidence in Robert Suarez for the ninth, and he still did his job, results-based business, didn't give up any runs there in that ninth inning, or either of those ninth innings. So I feel like that's what would happen, unless, let's say, the ninth inning is coming and Shohei Ohtani, going into the eighth, let's say Shohei Ohtani, he's due up for some point in the ninth, and you really want Tanner Scott there to face him, and you don't want to give Shohei first base, then maybe that's where you go with Suarez in the eighth, and you don't go with him in the ninth. But we'll see there. Remember, Robert Suarez last time at Dodger Stadium, not a good outing. I know on paper it'll be like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad because look at the runs that he didn't allow, right? But the triple play really bailed him out. They're not getting a triple play tonight. They cannot rely on a triple play here. Shohei Ohtani was on deck. That could have gotten real bad. So let's remember that. All right. Let's go to the chat here. This is the first time that I've been live for the pregame show or pregame thoughts here today. And I was doing this because of the lineup. I mean, the Dodgers were waiting. And it's understandable. They were waiting as long as they could there on that Freddie Freeman news. But he's banged up, obviously. He's not close to 100% here. Let's see what the chat has to say. Let's get this first one. Pod set the tempo. We're 2-0 versus Yamamoto. Yes, but I would throw that out because that was in April, March and April. LFGSD. I don't have the link to put in the chat right now, but I will be going, just a public announcement here. I will be going live after tonight's game to talk about this game. So I will have the link there. So if you want to join the show after this game, you can, and I'll have the link in the chat like I always do. Diego says, our whole team dominated Yamamoto, a combined 10 earned runs in maybe not even 7 innings, although he did do much better in his second start. Yes, I mean, that was a very low bar for him to get over for that second outing because of how bad that first outing was. But again, I'm not putting really any stock into what happened in that first couple of outings because that was in April. It's not like this was in September. Yeah, game one's huge. Yep, I agree with you, Mitchie. Game one is huge. Darvish tomorrow. I have confidence in Darvish, but never know. Jack Flaherty was scheduled to start game one, so to me that was like, okay, Dodgers, they have more confidence in Jack Flaherty than they do in Yamamoto. They view Flaherty as their guy. If they had to pick one, they view it as Flaherty. Then they switched it because they realized, well, let's give Yamamoto that extra day if we want him starting game 5. Maybe they don't want Yamamoto starting at game 4 at Petco. They'd rather have him starting at home, and they think that Jack Flaherty can handle starting at Petco. Maybe that's in their thinking. But yeah, you have a 1-0 lead, and then you have Darvish pitching game 2. If you lose that, okay, you have Michael King pitching in what turns into a best of 3 back at Petco in a game 3. Always want to get that first game. Do I think Freddie not being in the lineup? He is in the lineup, though. Freddie is in the not Padres lineup. He's in the Dodgers lineup tonight. So it would have been a big advantage if he wasn't in the lineup. I think it's an advantage that he's not 100%, but he is in the Dodgers lineup. According to this tweet that I saw from Jeff Sanders, unless the Dodgers have tweeted something out that's not that lineup. Let me double check. Nope, Freddie's in there. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Muncy, Smith, Lux, Edman, and Rojas. Yep. Ray says walk Shohei every time. Well, they're not going to do that. Late in a game, maybe. Again, based on the situation. But if Shohei's the tying run, they're not going to walk Shohei. I wouldn't think. Unless first base is open and they're really willing to take that risk facing Mookie. But first inning out of the gate, they're not walking Shohei. You're not just giving them a free base runner. And I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, if Shohei beat you, he beat you, but I'm not walking Shohei right out of the gate and just giving them a free base runner. You don't want the crowd to get into it at all. Just shut them up right from the get-go. Can Schilt call up Randy Vasquez since Musgrove is out? I think he could for the NLCS, but he's not on this roster. The roster's final for this series already. LFGSD. Yep, I agree, Sal. Hopefully, Jake and Bogey can get going in this series. All it takes, like, we don't care. At least we shouldn't. We don't care what happened in the wild card series. That is over. We advanced. That's all that matters. Now, if they come up with a couple of hits, some key hits in this series, then Padres fans are going to love them. That's just produce in this series, flush whatever happened. Who cares? And move on. It's a totally different series. Yeah, of course there's nerve. Yeah, there's nerves going into this series. I'm seeing some saying not scared, but nervous. We can beat the Dodgers, but it's the playoffs, so anything can happen. I thought going in, I still have this feeling, not as strong in the feeling because Joe's out, but I had the feeling going into the Brave series, like I was more nervous about that because it's a short series. You never know what could happen. Max Fried pitching game 2 for them. Who knows? But with this series, it's a longer series. I give the Padres the edge with the starting pitching. I give them the edge with the bullpen. Sure, the Dodgers have talent in that lineup, but I think the Padres have a more complete lineup. Maybe that's crazy to say, but I think so. They had the manager advantage. They had the bullpen usage advantage. So I'm not as nervous. I'm more excited than maybe this is weird to say, but I'm more excited about this series than I was about the Braves series. I was more nervous than excited about the Braves than this Dodgers series, if that makes sense. That's how I'm feeling. But yeah, that's going to do it. Fresh bullpens, both teams, obviously. Lots of days off. We'll see what happens. Is there an effect with the Dodgers? Are Dodgers fans going to use that as an excuse? Oh, the time off. Padres had some time off here. They had some days off. So I'm not using that as an excuse if I'm a Dodger fan. I'm not using that as an excuse if I'm a Padre fan. Oh, they partied too hard. I mean, that was days ago. Like, no, this is Padres, Dodgers. Who's going to show up? Who's going to come through in those clutch moments? Who's going to make the right decisions? Can't wait. We are less than 2 hours away from first pitch. Let's go. Live show, by the way. Live show after the game.